OpenNext is an effort to fundamentally change how we manufacture products using the power of open source. It brought 18 small and medium-sized enterprises and 4 makerspaces across Europe together to develop new products based on open source principles. The path of these 18 companies was mapped and turned into a set of resources that help any hardware company do the same. The main principle behind the project has been to uncover the path for how open source principles and methods can foster a successful customer-company collaboration. But let's uncover just what open source really means. Open source refers to a software or project where the source code, that is, the elements, are freely available to the public, allowing anyone to view, use, modify, and even distribute it. In everyday practice, you can compare open source to a food recipe. Anyone can see what ingredients to use and how to put them together. Open source fosters a collaborative environment, encouraging developers from around the world to work together and share ideas. Open source projects are typically driven by an active and diverse community of contributors, including developers, users, and even organizations who work together to maintain and enhance the project. The open nature of the source code enables increased transparency and potentially higher software quality, as issues can be identified and fixed more quickly through peer review and collaboration. The most recent version of open source is to apply to hardware. So if, for example, a company manufactures a refrigerator, they invite anyone to take part in the process, not just for the development of the software, but also the physical design. In OpenNext, the companies went through a design thinking process that prompted them to experiment and work on prototypes in collaboration with makerspaces to share insights and learnings. One of the key elements were that the companies were taught the principles, methods, and mindsets of open source to help publish their work in ways that inspired collaborators from around the world to co-develop their products and ideas with them. This means anyone can now learn from their work. The companies of OpenNext represented a wide range of industries ranging from appliances, furniture, consumer electronics, bicycles, automobiles, and much more. The wide range of industries represented in the 18 different companies shows the broad applicability of not only the open source innovation model, but also how the tools developed can be applied to most sectors developing and manufacturing physical goods. By using the OpenNext tools, companies can now stand on their shoulders, learn from their experience, and avoid many of the usual pitfalls. Now that the demonstration phase with the 18 companies is over, OpenNext offers any company a framework to work with and learn from the global maker community. In common terms, they're found in various makerspaces around the world. Actually, most cities have one or more of those these days. But what is a makerspace? It's a collaborative workspace where people can gather to create, invent, and learn. It's often equipped with various digital tools which you can learn to use to build prototypes with the community. Benefits are mutual. Makerspaces can learn from industry-specific knowledge, and companies can learn new ways to develop their ideas. And perhaps the biggest benefit, enter a diverse community of digital innovation. After being tested for 4 years as a program, OpenNext is now a toolbox and a framework for best practice on how to apply open source principles to your company's physical products, from revenue streams to community building, and last but not least, to design a new business model. To show a really great example of open source hardware applied in practice, let's take a look at British startup, the Refrigeration Project. They're using OpenNext to build a sustainable business around an urgent global challenge.
So half the world's population have inaccess to cooling. With this in mind, and the millions of old refrigerators out there, we're trying to come up with an innovative off-the-grid solution that cools down your payload, in this instance, vaccines or food, with little to no energy, and cool it for a very long period of time. We decided to make the product open source. Hiding stuff behind closed doors or patenting things only hinders innovation.